Hey, everybody. So I hope somebody can find me. I tried to do a live stream and then I didn't see the video feed. And right now I'm not seeing a video feed. But the last time, oh, hi, Patty. Can you see me and hear me? Because I'm getting a blank screen. And so I tried to start the live stream before and it was a blank screen. But then I went back and saw it and there was a video feed. So I can't see myself, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, if anybody else is here, just check in with me and let me know. Otherwise, I'll just record the whole thing and then and then if I see I'm blank, I'll just delete it later. Okay, thank you, Patty. So hopefully other people will find me too, because I did have to do a quick redirect, or didn't redirect, I just canceled it and started over. So anyway, so as you arrive, let me know you're here. If you want to, let me know what's been going on with you in these last 2 weeks. So we are in the crow moon. We talked about that for the new moon. The crow moon is, I guess, when the crows come back after winter. So, and crows are known to be very, clever, and they're also connected to like the idea of connected to the physical and the spiritual world, like almost like they're conduits between the two. So there's a lot of good things about crows. So today we're doing the crow moon. And also, I guess the moon is in Libra, which I don't know a whole lot about, but I did read something earlier today that talked about the focus being on harmony, like finding balance and harmony. So especially as we're coming into spring, those of us in the northern hemisphere are coming into spring, the idea of balance. So spring is about new life and things coming at. Oh, Patty says, I've been on the struggle bus, but I'm ready for crow energy. I hear you. So the idea of like life, about spring is here, and there's new life is beginning, and life is only sustainable when we have harmony. And there's a balance between give and take and rest and action, and all of these elements we have to balance in order to have a sustainable energy cycle. And if you have one of them is out of whack, you'll start feeling it, right? You'll start feeling tired. You'll start feeling frustrated. You'll start feeling sick in your body. There's different ways that indicate that we're not in flow. So I thought that could be our focus for the crow moon. So I'm going to pull a spread in a little bit. We'll do a 3-card spread. If you want to use my cards, you can, or if you want to pull your own spread, you can do that. So just be prepared for that. If you want to join us in that. I will say that the last 2 weeks, what I noticed was that one of the challenges I had was I had the 3 of Pentacles reversed, which I thought about as being like creating an inner experience of partnership and kind of deepening that, right? And hi, Daniel. And so I noticed not long after we did the new moon opening, I was sort of thinking about three of Pentacles reversed. And it occurred to me that I have been kind of compartmentalizing my work a little bit. Like I think, oh, well, the intuition gets to surface the insights, and the mind then has to take the action steps, and almost like they're sort of coworkers that are operating in different offices. And I thought, what would it be like if I put them in the same room? What if everything I do is sort of a collaboration between intuition and the mind, so that there's not just sort of boring mind things that happen over here and the intuition gets to do the surfacing of stuff? What if they learned how to really deliberately work together? And so I began noticing, so this past 2 weeks, I was trying to bring that energy in. Like if I'm going to do the dishes, like how do they both join me in doing the dishes? How do they both join me in doing chores or in whatever I'm doing, right? And then I thought, so that was part of it, is learning how not to compartmentalize. How can I bring magic? The intuition's where the magic comes from, and the mind is where action comes from, or action in the physical plane. How can all action be magical and all magic be actionable, if that makes sense? So that was one thing I did. But also I thought about, in combination with that, I thought I wanted to help things feel like playful. I began noticing a couple weeks ago that I started having low blood pressure again. I know some of you may know that happened to me before, and I kind of connected low blood pressure with not receiving properly. And I had been noticing that, so imbalance, right? And I had been noticing that my intuition was getting very grouchy. and kind of complaining that everything we're doing is for other people, like we're constantly in service to other people. There's no room for play. So in combination with trying to find intuition and the mind of place to be together, I also wanted them to have more opportunity to play together. Like I can play on the piano even though I have no intention of playing in front of other people, right? I can just let myself enjoy it, and also kind of wind back and forth between playing the piano and then doing dishes, and then going for having a nap, and then maybe going for a walk, and then sort of letting my life sort of weave in and out, because if they're always together, if the intuition and the mind are together all the time, they're actually weaving a moment by moment partnership. So that was what I did with the between the new moon and the full moon. And now that we're in the crow moon and we're talking about harmony, I guess that makes sense, because we're trying to create a balanced partnership within ourselves, and one that is sustainable in the world. So anyway, anybody else want to check in? I see Patty and Daniel, so feel free to jump in. Let me know how your last 2 weeks were. Patty's already said she's been on the struggle bus, so if you want to elaborate on that, you can. But anyway, so the crow moon, we're going to look at a 3-card spread focusing on harmony. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the spread, and you can share what you pull if you want to. The first question I have is, what's the image for harmony? Oh, so Patty says, I've been working with something similar from 9 of Cups, working integration and adding delight. Oh, so it's funny because you're right. Like you're saying, you're on the struggle bus, right? But the struggle is learning how to have fun. I mean, it's interesting how having fun sounds like it would be easy, but actually you have to reprogram your mind, especially to learn how to do that, especially if your mind's been working really hard and thinks that the main thing is getting things done and being productive. Like you have to retrain your mind. And although, you're training it to have fun, it is actually training. You actually have to deprogram things. Yes. Patty says, fun is hard. I'm a worker bee. Absolutely. So hopefully, when you pull a spread, or if you want to use my spread, you may discover you get some direction, some more support in how to create that balance. I also think it's important. I think the more you do this, the more the mind gets this, that if you don't have time for play, your work suffers. There really is, like, there's a genius to play. It's not just having fun. It actually is like the cultivation of magic. And you need both of those things. Otherwise, everything gets stagnant and heavy. So there is an actual purposeful, objective reality to play, that it results in more productivity. So I think that once the mind kind of climbs on board with that, it becomes more supportive. So first question is, what is an image of harmony we can use to sort of support ourselves? Okay. Judgment. Ooh, it's a good card. So I think of judgment as being connected to resurrection. We have this angel blowing his horn, a trumpet over a graveyard, and the people coming out, the corpses coming out of their graves. So the idea here is that we are leaving an old life behind, old ideas, old strategies, old struggles, leaving them in the grave. They're dead. We cut them free, and we come awake to new life. So every day we come to the world fresh and ready. I think this is really helpful for harmony, because harmony requires us to be awake to our current lives, right? Just because something was harmonious in the past does not mean it's harmonious right now. Even if something worked for us yesterday, it might not work today. So it's about, especially if you're an intuitive, it's about every moment staying awake to what your intuition is telling you today. And so you may have 3 days where you do nothing, and then 2 days where you're very, very productive. And the idea behind linear thinking is often we're going to try to reproduce the same day every day, right? We're going to have 2 hours of sleep and 3 hours of work and 1 hour of recreation or whatever. And so the idea is that we'll just keep repeating the same pattern. And patterns are good for some things, but they're not good for balance. Because if you think about, for example, riding a bike, right? Like you can't just do this. There are variations in bike riding. Like you'll be going downhill sometimes. Maybe you'll hit a bump. Maybe you'll take a curve. So there's all these. You have to constantly be balancing and staying in sync with the bike in order to keep it upright. And I think that that's more what it's like to be an intuitive, is that there's always these adaptations we have to make. And if we don't make them, we end up crashing one way or the other, right? So I think that staying awake, letting go of what you did yesterday, what worked yesterday, what didn't work yesterday, where you messed up, letting all that gravity, which is heaviness. And also gravity is the same root as the grave, right? It's like you let the gravity go and you stay like on your toes right now. So being awake to what you need to do right now. Yeah. Patty says, I loved it it helps us to reevaluate. Yeah. And I think it helps us to reevaluate and also stay awake to the present moment, like kind of come alive to what is available in this fresh new day. It's first card. I'm going to pull all my cards and then I'll come back and see what you guys have shared. Second cards. That was my vision for harmony. What also the first question is, what can I stop doing in order to help that harmony vision come to focus? Four of Cups. Oh, that's good. That's good for me. So the Four of Cups is about creating balance and a foundation and like being, mindful. And I think cups are about the intuition, about the heart, about listening to your heart, following your heart. So the image here is a guy sitting under a tree, like he's being by himself. He's sort of centering in. He's, being alone and sort of taking time to be in touch with his heart and develop that foundation. The reason I laughed at this is because it's also kind of I don't know, like a reclusive card, like, oh, I need time to think, I need time to center. And I have a tendency to get caught in this, like not taking action. I need to think it more. I need to work on it more. I need to get more in touch with my heart. Almost like I'm building a foundation over and over again. Almost like I'm afraid I'm going to lose track of my heart. When really, I do have a good foundation with my intuition. My intuition talks to me all the time. And this is really just me kind of scapegoating. This like me getting out of taking action. It's like I'm pulling out of people. I need to be by myself. Almost like that old actress. Was it Greta Garbo? It was like, not Greta Garbo. Oh, it may have been, but the actress who was like, I want to be alone. Like she was always wanting to hide from her public. And there's this sort of an idea of frailty behind it. Like I need to care for myself. I'm such a delicate flower. My husband calls me that all the time. You're such a delicate flower. But the idea that, you have to be kind of careful and delicate and take time away instead of engaging. And of course, the 4 is just before the 5. So it really is like we're kind of hiding out in the 4 instead of taking on the challenge of the 5. So I need to stop hiding out from my challenge. How about that? Third question, third card. Third question is, what can I start doing to support my harmony? Oh, 9 of Pentacles. This is about being in the world. I think of Pentacles, it's about the physical world. So it's about being on the planet. And the 9 is that moment just before the 10 where you get a chance to take stock of what you've done, to enjoy where you are, to be alive on the planet. So I really feel like that's an interesting juxtaposition. The 4 of Cups in this position in response to this question feels like it's withdrawal, like hiding from the world, kind of being introspected, maybe a little bit of navel gazing. And this one's like, be in the world, like be in the sun, smell the flowers, eat the good food, really enjoy being on the planet and recognizing you have been given such an abundance of joy and blessing, and be awake to that. And I can definitely see how both of them are about judgment, which is let go of what happened in the past and be alive to what's happening right now. So those are my 3 cards. Hi, Tara. Say, what's the Knight of Cups meaning for you at Min? Just pull this as I got your alert from Ireland. The Knight of Cups. Oh, I think the Knight of Cups, I always think of it as the lover knight. Like the knight is always the action taker in the court cards, and cups are about the heart, intuition. And this guy, that knight's the one that's like on his horse. He's very steady. He's got the cup in front of him. I think of him as moving into the world with his heart open. He's looking for love. He's sharing love. He's singing songs and writing poetry. It's like his heart is on his sleeve, and it's an uncensored action of the heart. So I think of it as he's looking for beauty. He's expecting beauty. He's creating beauty. So I think of that when I think of the Knight of Cups. That's the connection I make. I don't know if that answers your question, but okay. So Patty, you said you got Knight of Cups 2 for the stop card. Okay. The first one was okay. Patty said the first one she got was the 8 of Pentacles, right? For judgment, for harmony. So 8 of Pentacles is about, I think, actually it's similar to this card, except it's about kind of being in the full mastery and flow of your skill set. So letting yourself be in your joy, be in your power, like letting yourself feel alive and manifesting on the planet. And it is about like not judging yourself, not spending too much time looking at like judging it or being not trying to perfect something. Nothing on the physical plane can be done perfectly. So we're going to let go of that idea altogether and instead like letting the manifestation be what it is. Okay. So that would be kind of like letting yourself be fully engaged physically in the world. Now, the Knight of Cups for the stop card. So the Knight of Cups is this sort of, as I said before, the lover knight that's in the world. There can be a bit of a like a dreaminess to that night. Let's say like it's so almost like he's not engaging the real world around him. He's sort of caught in his own idea of the world. So all of the cards have like, good things and challenges and stuff. So I would think the Knight of Cups, it's almost like I mentioned before, I think it was in a tarot story, Don Quixote, the knight in the Spanish tale who's sort of delusional. He's in the world, he's seeing windmill. I mean, he's seeing, I think it's a dragon where there's a windmill, and he's sort of seeing things through rose-colored glasses, and his heart is sort of taking over, but it's a deluded heart. So it's almost like a heart that's not connected to reality. So I would say in this situation, if the Eight of Pentacles is the balance, and it's like Eight of Pentacles is deep investment in the physical world. We're not in our room like daydreaming or thinking about something. We are like doing things, we're touching things, we're tasting things, we're making things happen in the physical world. And maybe the tendency is like the Knight of Cups would be like to sort of fall into its own delusion of things. So it's almost like we're piercing the veil of delusion so that we can engage the physical world around us. I think that's really helpful. It's really important for the intuition to know that, because the intuition is spirit energy and it doesn't really have any experience in the physical world. So it comes into the world like a vision of what it's going to do, right? And it like, I want to manifest and draw this thing up, right? But then in order for that to translate from spirit to physical, it has to go through this sort of alchemizing process, which the mind does. So what you end up creating, whatever you end up manifesting, does not look like what you thought it would look like. And that's normal because whatever it is, physical, the spiritual world doesn't have any density, no gravity, there's no mass to it, right? So for it to translate into mass, something has to shift. And I think, so the Knight of Cups may have an idea of what he wants, but we want to pierce that delusion so we can see what's really there. And that what's really there isn't perfect and rosy. It is a little messy, a little stinky sometimes, but it is the physical world we live in. So I don't know if that helps at all. And King of Swords, Patty says, and King of Swords for start. Okay, so the King of Swords, I think of the King is the master energy, swords or the mind. And so he's a good strategizer. He's the energy that says, what do you want to accomplish? I will create action steps to get you there. So actually you have your Eight of Pentacles as the harmony. King of Swords is like, I'm going to help you make things happen in a very strategic, clear, step-by-step way. So you can see the energy here is about being clear, being precise, knowing what you're trying to do, and kind of putting your energy in something, in making things happen in the physical world. So it is like more of a masculine energy. The Knight of Cups, he is masculine, but he's a feminized masculine. He's more like in love. He's more about reception and love. So there may just be a shift to you towards your harmony is towards taking action, naming what you're doing, and moving forward in power. Okay. So anyway, yeah, that's what I've got so far. Any other questions? So, Chica Anna, can someone draw a card for me? What kind of card do you want to draw? So I always draw cards. I don't draw cards by themselves because the cards are like a vocabulary, or they're like words, like part of a vocabulary, right? So before I draw a card, I'll either ask a question or I'll put it in a sequence somehow, because they have to communicate. Because the cards don't have any power without our intention. So, whatever your intention is would change for me. Like if you're saying what's blocking me right now, that's a different question than what am I trying to, what do I need to focus on, or what should I do? Or like we said, these questions are a vision. The questions we have today are a vision of harmony. We have a start and a stop, or a stop and a start. I guess I did that direction. So yeah, if you want to let me know more of what you're describing, what you're looking for, you can. So anyway, I don't see anybody else talking right now. There, I see a few people are around, but I don't see anybody else pulling cards. So if you do have any more questions, you can ask it now. I'm sorry if some of you might have lost me since that first live stream connection didn't work. Let's see. What's the outcome of my manifestation? If I can ask that. Well, I wouldn't ask that because that's a future question. I don't do futures, but you can say, what is it I'm trying to manifest? Right. I mean, that's what I would say. So if I ask that question, I'm just going to pull the next card in the deck. I'm not going to shuffle them and just see what happens. Magician reversed. So if you were asking, what am I trying to manifest? I would read this as saying, I'm trying to manifest. The magician is the first card in the major arcana. So it is like the part of us that kind of pulls energy from the spiritual world into the physical world. That's why he's standing here with his hand pointed up. I think of that as the lightning rod position where he's pulling energy in. And it's the seed card. So we're sort of saying, this is what I want to create. I'm going to pull it from the spiritual world, put it in the physical world and plant it. That's how I would see this card, right? And the reversal to me would be like internalizing this magician, which would mean kind of taking ownership for the fact that you are the one who makes the decision. You're the one who kind of negotiates with heaven to bring something on the planet. And I think that is sometimes a challenge for us, especially if we've been raised, as most of us have been raised, with the idea that there is some kind of divine purpose and energy up here, and we're kind of responding to it. The magician's not responding, he's originating a request, right? So basically, what is it that I am looking for? And I think most of the time with body or heart intuitives, the answer to that question is not actually money. Although that comes up a lot, like I want to manifest a house and money and a car. Like what we're really talking about when we say money and a car, we're talking about somebody's freedom, joy, abundance. We're talking about an experience of something. So what we're asking for is we're missing something. We're asking for something because we're missing something. We're noticing something in our lives. We want to be different. And so we say, this is what I want. I want a seed from heaven to plant on the earth. So I would say the magician reverse is I'm trying to manifest this experience of myself, taking ownership of this. The magician is also a masculine energy. So it is sort of, it's not responsive. Like that's what I'm saying. We're not responding to what heaven wants to give us. We are calling for something down from heaven. And I think the more we can sort of feel it out, try to not attach it to a particular manifestation, like a certain house or a certain car, because that's the mind's interpretation of actually what the intuition is trying to come up with. So you can use it at a specific manifestation if you want to, but you want to make sure you know it's symbolic. Actually, what does the car symbolize? What does the money symbolize? Because whatever it symbolizes is actually the feeling and the compass that's kind of anchoring your intuition. So that's what I would suggest for the magician reversed. Oh, Lori, hi. Okay. So Lori says her cards are 4 of Cups. So my stop card is your Harmony card. So yes, I'm going to pull it up because I just happen to have it here, right? About balance, foundation, really kind of getting in touch with your heart. So your heart, and that could be because you might have been very busy lately, or maybe you're kind of getting in touch with your intuition in a new way. So basically, like making a lot of space, like this guy's doing, making a lot of space to like hear your heart, understand your heart, and maybe even like helping your mind get more acquainted with how your heart speaks, how your intuition speaks. And that could be because you're in the middle of, we always want to use a 4 when we're starting something new, creating a foundation. So especially if you're in the middle of a transition or an expansion, you want to start before you expand. You want to make sure communication's really good and the foundation's really good. So maybe that's what you're working on this time. And then it was the start. Did I say stop? The stop card. Second card is stop. King of Wands. Okay. So the king is master energy. Wands is about fire, feeling inspired, that kind of thing. Impassioned, that kind of energy. So the king is the King of Wands especially is very gregarious, big social energy, very strong leadership energy. And I always think of Wands as being sort of they're like flashy, and not in a bad way, but like they're very visible in the world, like they're calling to themselves a lot of attention. And the King of Wands kind of, because he's so fiery and charismatic, he draws attention, right? So in this case, where I would see the stop is almost like stepping back from that visibility. It could very well be that you are charismatic and gregarious, and lots of people kind of come to you and flock around you and want to like be on your team. But especially if right now you're doing the four of cups, you may need some space from that. You may need to step back from that, kind of create some distance, so that, because when there's lots of people around, lots of people are talking to us and want to be on our team, it's easy to get caught in their expectations and their desires and their joys, and it might drown out the voice of our own intuition, which seems to be where harmony is calling you, is to be in touch with your own intuition right now. So that would be like the stop card. And Nine of Pentacles, that's the same as my Nine of Pentacles, right? That's mine too, which is like, I think the Nine of Pentacles or Pentacles cards are really good for getting us grounded, because they are in the physical world. So it's about having experiences in the physical world and appreciating the blessing of the physical world. So I would say like what you can start doing, and actually they feel very similar to me, because the Four of Cups is about, being alone, kind of taking stock of what's going on. And this is about like letting yourself be enjoyed. This woman is sitting here. She's richly dressed. It's abundant. She's in a beautiful garden. There's a lot of, and she also has this falcon on her hand, which I always love that falcon because he's hooded. And the idea is like, as soon as she's taken stock of where she is and she's enjoyed this garden, she can take the hood off the falcon, who will then go hunt for her final prize, which actually becomes the 10 of Pentacles. So it's interesting. The 10 of Pentacles is again like this big gold's falling down from the sky and all these people are being blessed, which feels like King of Wands energy. So it's almost like you're stepping back from this production, producing for others and creating manifestation for others, and like inspiring others to come back and take care of yourself a bit, let yourself be replenished. So in the case of harmony, it could very well be that you're giving more than you're receiving, and you want to kind of balance that out again. Okay, that's the only one I see so far. Anybody else have one they want to share, or anything else you want to share? Yeah, so watch out for crows. I mean, they're around right now. Oh, Patty, the falcon aspect. Yeah, I know. I love the Nine of Pentacles. I love the falcon too, because it's like it's ready. It's like it's poised to go hunting for you, right? But again, it's hooded, which reminds us of one of the challenges of the nine, is that, we might just stay there because the nine is, except in the swords trajectory, the nine is the wands trajectory is a little bit not great too, but like the pentacles and the cups, like it's like a nice place. We're sitting here, we're enjoying ourselves. And actually we're having our last little bit of solitude before we go to the 10, where our blessing becomes public, right? Goes wide. So yeah, this idea like getting stopped at the 9 point, but I like in the case of Lori, it actually is asking her to go back to the 9. Like, okay, let go of these people for a while, let go of this, and like come back to yourself. Because if you go long enough without kind of the Four of Cups, and especially if you're in expansion, you'll get dislocated pretty quickly because you get busy doing this. It's just like anything else, balance, right? You need to have spaces of solitude, spaces of quiet, as well as spaces of activity. So my cards are telling me I need to get more active, and Lori's are telling her to get quieter. So yes. Anything else that you want to share right now? If not, then I will close this for now. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry for the confusion. Maybe one day I'll figure out live stream a little better. But I plan to see you guys. For our next new moon, I'll probably do a live stream between then and now. But until then, you have a great crow moon. Bye.